so in my book, I give a lot of studies that have come out recently on how becoming a father benefits the man, right? Because we tend to sort of make it like, fathers, you need to be more involved. But I think we should motivate them by appealing to those self-interest. Fatherhood, they found that you mentioned Warren Farrell. He wrote a book in which he said, when a man becomes a father, there are actually neurons in his brain that get activated. He called it the dad brain. Yep. If you don't become a father, there are certain parts of your brain that never really get activated. But when you do become a father, your brain actually grows. You actually develop more neural connections when you become a father. And also, you develop hormonally as well. We've always known that women, when they have babies, they have hormones like oxytocin, which are called the bonding hormones, which give women a little boost in bonding to this baby so that they'll be motivated, to do all the sacrifices taking care of the baby. But they never thought men had any hormonal changes. In fact, that's why people like Margaret Mead, the famous anthropologist, said, motherhood is natural, but fatherhood is not. It's a cultural convention, a cultural invention, in fact. And I argue in the book, no, it's not. It's totally natural to men as well. Because if you tell them it's not natural to them, you will undercut their motivation, right, for becoming fathers. So I think it's important for men to realize, no, it's natural to you as well. And what they discovered is that at birth, a man's oxytocin goes up as well. In other words, he too is getting a biochemical boost to become a more involved and engaged father. It's stimulated by tactile sensations. And so the man has to be actually holding and cuddling and playing with his baby. But if he does, his oxytocin goes up just like the mother's does to help him bond to his baby. And then the real surprise is the most recent study I found was by an anthropologist who found that a father's oxytocin is going up all through his wife's pregnancy. And that was a surprise. I don't think anyone ever thought to test a man's blood during his wife's pregnancy. But when they did, they found out that all through her pregnancy, he's becoming biochemically primed to be a full involved member of the parenting partnership. And so men themselves, and I have lots of quotes from men too, from surveys, men who say becoming a father was the best thing I ever did. John Lennon, we all know who John Lennon was. So he was in a support group once, and he was asked, Warren Farrell tells this story, by the way. He was in a support group, and he was asked, what's the biggest hole in your heart? And he said, the biggest hole in my heart is I was not there for my first son. And so with his second son, he decided to take off work for 5 years and be the primary parent. And so Warren Farrell asks him, how'd that turn out? John Lennon says, best decision I ever made. And then he said, I never knew what love was until I really was an involved father with my son. And he's not the only one. I have several quotes from men saying, I had no idea being a father would change me so much that I would find it so fulfilling. One pastor actually, he became a father a little bit later in life for the first time. And he said, how come nobody told me? I feel cheated. I feel cheated. Nobody told me how much fatherhood would make me feel like a fuller human being. I feel like fully a man now that I'm a father. So in my book, I try to give men, the positive affirmation that will motivate them to become fathers.